Hello, so Dancer A here. He's back. Yeah, I'm back. Back from the wilderness, and I thought I'm gonna go and give my thoughts, I suppose, for first half of Dream. Well, I mean, I guess it's the first half of the half of the game that's done, since I unfortunately had decided, like an idiot, to also do Route B. So not doing it immediately, but I will do it at some point, probably like next month or something. But anyway. So we're gonna start with the good and the bad. I guess is fair. Um, yeah, let's start. I suppose. All right. So graphically, Dream of Five, easily one of the most beautiful projects that exists. I don't know how else to say this. It's fantastic. You got the interface, the stat screen, battle animations. A little saturated, but I think that's just me personally. And like Miss AK, she's also sensitive to saturation. I don't know if it's actually super saturated. I remember Renair's hair is like 100% saturation, which is, well, it's a lot because that's the highest it could be. But I don't know if that's really a negative. Um, yeah. So artwork, sprite work is fantastic. Um, the interfaces are great. The weapon icons, I'm especially impressed with, just because the not only is there detail in how they're created, but there's also like you have they're based on real things, and then the real world implication is used to help build the items like icon. Like when I went down talking about the Ranceur, that was a lot of that's a lot of attention to detail. That's something that I probably wouldn't bother with. A lot of projects you see probably wouldn't bother with something like that. They like I also know that the reason that they went with titanium over silver is because silver is not a good weapon. It's not a good material for a weapon. It's just gonna break. It's soft, like gold. Gold is also an awful weapon type. Ironically, Renair has that as her weapon, but I was told that it just has like trimmings of gold. I'm gonna guess just because they put that much attention to the fact that they're not gonna use silver. I'm pretty sure that it's just like a gold trim or a gold finish. And yeah, that's it's a lot. I mean, I personally I make everything up because I don't feel like being restricted. If I'm making a fan game in the first place, I'm gonna turn this off. Um, but if I'm making a fan game, why am I? I'm not gonna restrict myself to the this the restrictions of real life. Like what for? Like some things I will do, like with like maps. I won't make things that are not proportional. I will complain when things are not proportional, which I think I've done in at least one of these videos when I talk about having a giant castle, but then you also have a really tiny little hut, which doesn't make sense because they both take up the same amount of tile space. One tile in this castle is the size of a house. That's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. This castle must be the size of like a continent or an entire city. It's just this castle. Um, yeah. Maps are solid outside of like that, probably like chapter 3 one. Well, everything that has one tile choke points I'm gonna hate because one tile choke points are terrible in my opinion. It's awful design, but I mean, outside of that specifically, I don't think I really have that many problems with the maps. Some of them are a little big, but I mean, design-wise, they're fine. This is not talking about gameplay at all. I'm not going to talk about gameplay at all in this video. I'm going to hit that in the next one after I do 14B, um, because it's uh, I mean, come on, level one enemies, we all know. But yeah. So that's it's graphics, solid stuff. I give graphics an A+. If I was going to go any ratings, I'm not going to do ratings, but yeah. All right, now let's get into the nitty gritty. The old story. Now, the story in Dream of Five, man, it's rough. Um, when you start off, you got Renair, she's Border Patrol, and as Border Patrol, she's tasked with securing the border. That's fine, fair, makes perfect sense. She's out there, she's tasked to fight bandits. It all makes sense up to a point. Then we get to I think it's chapter 3 or chapter 2. Whenever we start, like, the Darkwing Right Bandits, the Darkwing Ducks, I'm just gonna call them that at this point. They decide that they're gonna do more. they're fighting. They're working for Pharrell. At this point, we don't even know who Pharrell is. Just House Pharrell. Whatever. Will Ferrell's here. That's fine. Then we beat them all, but then for some reason, Sarka shows up. Pharrell's daughter. We don't know who she is. I don't know how she has any of the information she has. She knows who Renair is. Apparently she was tracking Renair. And she knew, for some reason, they were all concerned with her exposing Pharrell's interworkings with these bandits. We don't know what these bandits were doing for Pharrell. Not a clue. As far as I know, they're just bandits. So, what exactly was Pharrell trying to hide? I have no idea. And I'll never know because the game's not finished. And after, chapter, 6, Pharrell was literally wiped from my memory because he didn't show up anymore. Alright. Then we hit, chapter 6. After chapter 6, we're in 6X. We're going to Arundus, right? And 6X happens. Now 6X literally did not matter in many ways. First way, character introductions. That's the only thing that may have matters because Arcus is introduced to the rest of the cast. Well, he's just 2 people. But in reality, you could have had that as a cutscene, and you could have had it just happen in chapter 7. Because Enjo literally doesn't remember ever meeting Renair for some reason. When they see each other in the prison break chapter, he's like, oh, you're going to have to convince me that she's good. Which is ridiculous, because I don't know why I need to do that again. That's dumb. I don't know. We move on, past that point, and we're at chapter 7, I believe it is, when we are going to help Arcus's people, his friends, who had a fort that was, for some reason, they had a castle, and after we beat Uther's forces at said castle, for some reason we surrendered to Uther. That makes no sense to me. I don't know why we wouldn't just fight Uther at this point, or just flee. Why did we surrender Renair? Don't really get that. Also, why Renair? She doesn't mean it. She's literally just a mercenary to these people. She's not important to them. What they want Enjo, who's not there, or they want Arcus, because he's some weird star house or whatever. The Visharans people, right? Yeah. So, for some reason, they're cool with Renair, and I think that's kind of weird. And then we get out of that situation. Renair is captured. She's going through the forest with some idiot jailer who decides to go through a forest, take a shortcut, and then loses Renair in a scuffle because Saren switches sides. And we meet Cullahan, who we also never see again, but he's always referenced as someone being extremely important. And I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I don't believe he's important at all, because if he was important, he would have shown up. He would have done something more than just kind of been there. It's weird. But then we have the Gaiden that happened after that chapter, which didn't really make sense because Renair is the one who did the thing. So then why in the world is how do I explain this? Why did Gareth? Why was there Gaiden around Gareth and Arcus? That doesn't make sense. It should have been with Renair, but she wasn't there because she was captured. She's in their area. Also, demons everywhere. Nice map theme, but demons everywhere. Speaking of map themes, Chapter 9. I hate that map theme. It's terrible. It's an awful map theme. Battle theme, probably a lot better. Map theme, terrible. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Anyway, so we have that happen. We have Chapter 9. Jason, wherever that guy was at the time, for some reason, hiring all these mercenaries and hiding off screen. I don't know. The Bard that showed up in Chapter 9. I don't know anything about him. Not a clue. Don't know why he was in there. I don't know why he joined me. I don't know why he's still here. Not a clue. No idea what his motivations are. Not any. I straight up don't know why he's here at this point. Then we get to the point where, everybody's meeting up. We're joining up again. It's a great time. However, for some reason, everybody's split apart. We have Driscoll and Gabriel showing up from the south. We have Arcus. No, next it was Ilance and Amelia show from the north. Why? I have no idea. I don't know why they didn't all come together. Then, later on, Arcus and Asher show up. Jake, I'm just going to say at this point, that's Jake. Then, we have Colbane and Gareth show up from the west side, which makes even less sense because I thought that was the direction I'm supposed to be going in. But for some reason, that was just where people were. Then behind me, we have Crow and Chester. I'm just getting confused. I'm more and more confused. Also, there's still no Jason on the map. But that's the victory condition. Yeah. Whatever. We beat Jason. We move on. Everything's great. Then we go and we break out Enjo from prison, which is fine. You know, I have no problem with breaking him out of prison. He probably needed it. But this is when he, back to the point where I was talking before, where he apparently didn't know who Renair was. Why does he not know who Renair is? They met in 6X. Are we supposed to assume, like, is there a possibility that I could have skipped that chapter? I don't know. I'm assuming not, because I didn't do anything special in Chapter 6. I actually almost lost Chapter 6, because of the stupid time limit. And, after, 10 happens, then 11 happens, where we're still in the same fort, but these two characters we've never seen before have now, for some reason, they're like, oh, we're indebted to you. We've joined you, but I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't know when I met you. And River is apparently indebted to me, but I don't know why. I don't know what I did. Was she just one of the people who were captured? It's never explained. I don't know. and yeah, and then chapter 12 happens with Uther, and we all know that Fleur is a snake, and it's hinted at, but we don't get to explore that. And I think that's mainly because, the game ends this early. I'm assuming that, later on Enjo's gonna find out that his stepsister is a witch. And he's gonna be upset, but that sucks. I knew already. Dude. It's not a surprise for me. Okay, then we kill Uther, because I don't know. I guess he's supposed to be like the Camus. It didn't really work. He seemed like a douche for most of the time. Chapter 13 happens. We fight the twins! Don't get them at all. I don't really understand their backstory. And then they suddenly they tried to be redeemable at the end. Weird. Don't get that. But then, of course, suddenly, Tisha! We have dragons. Why? Where did they come from? Don't know. But they showed up. Being dragons. Sometimes dragons just appear out of nowhere, I guess. And then, Guillaume tries to summon said dragons and fails. Very similar, very reminiscent to somebody we all remember. His name was Nurgle. And gets himself roasted like Ifidel. That's why I think I referenced that in that video. That it's very reminiscent of the Arabian Nights part where, spoiler alert, I suppose, even though that game is very old too. Ifidel makes a return in Arabian Nights as a half-burned, charred, yeah, ugh. And he's there, and he's for some reason under the assumption that Nurgle's still alive. That's not really the point of this tangent. It's more just, I don't know where the dragons came from. I don't know why, and I also don't understand why the soldiers would fight on the side of dragon zombies. If I see a dragon zombie, I'm not joining that side. I'm leaving. This is not the place to be. And the guy who's like, oh no, I knew, because he told me about the dragons he was summoning. I'm like, oh, did he tell you he was summoning zombie dragons or regular dragons? Because that's a zombie. I'm not fighting with no zombie. The zombie doesn't know what's going on. The zombie doesn't know he's on my side, even if you tell me. Ridiculous. That happens. Fine. Finish that chapter. Guillaume gets executed. Completely frightened. Should have been executed. He's a terrible human being, and straight up, he's just bad. But then, the real last dragon shows up, and an Enakos and an Axis man, I don't know what his name was. And, I mean, sure, the call at the Call of the Crimson was hilarious, but why we've never heard of these things until chapter 14? And I think I jokingly mentioned this before, that it's sort of like the game's story progresses under the assumption that I know everything that's happening, but I don't, because the game is not telling me. It's just assuming that I know. It's a very strange way of storytelling. It's like a book that came out, and it's assuming you read the prequel, but the prequel doesn't exist. It's very odd to me. And I thought Renair would promote at that point, but she didn't. Maybe in the regular version she would promote there. But yeah, in my opinion, that's should have promoted at that point. Arcus probably should promote at that point as well, but yeah. Anyway, that's the gist of what I want to talk about. Is there anything else? I don't think so. I think this is it for this little round of barnyard fun. I'll see you guys next time on the next vid. Sure, I'll say it. Like and subscribe if you'd like. I never say that. I've never said it before, and it felt very weird saying it now. But yeah, like and subscribe, and comment or whatever, and I'll see you next time. So, bye-bye.